Good morning. ECG provides business strategy, technology commercialization, and growth planning services for rapidly growing companies and major corporations like the GE, Boeing, Corning. And over the years, we've done a lot of work with many different technologies where companies invested tens of millions of dollars, if not 500 or $1 billion into develop it. So over the course, what I thought I would do is talk about a few lessons learned from the work because these clients of ours has put a lot of money into these products. One is regarding IP. IP is a necessary but insufficient condition for success. You need to protect your IP. It's very important, but it in no way leads to a successful business venture. And what you need is a commercialization strategy. And without a sound business strategy, a commercialization strategy, you run the risk of wasting time, not talking to the right customers, not targeting the right markets, and not developing a compelling value proposition. The second big point is that IP value is driven by the level of technology adoption. If the technology is not adopted at a wide scale, you'll reduce the value. So the real key issue that you need to think about is, excuse me, how do you adopt the technology? How do you get it used by your customers? And so therefore your strategy must think about things like who adopts it, who uses it, what are the target markets, what are the target customers, etc. In essence, the strategy must encourage adoption. And finally, to encourage technology adoption, the real key is developing a winning and a compelling customer value proposition. And the value proposition by the customer, it must be quantifiable. It can't be too high level where the customer can't understand it. It needs to take into account the switching costs that when you switch from one technology to another, and many times in today's markets, your technology must have a 10 or 15 or 20% better performance advantage. And finally, the technology must be very, very clear and concise. If no one can understand it, no one can sell it, and no one can use it. And we've used, and there are many examples in our work, excuse me, I'm losing my voice. We were working on a project for Corning related to willow glass, which is 0.2 millimeter glass. And they're going down to 0.1 millimeter glass where you can actually roll the glass. They've invested, hundreds of millions of dollars into development of this product. The key is how do you get it adopted into, all sorts of electronic devices, all sorts of automobiles and other kinds of technology. And these issues of making it a compelling proposition is absolutely critical. And one of the interesting issues is how do you get people to switch out? Because there's a lot of investment in capital and equipment to switch out old technologies for new technologies. And they've been very, very successful. A good example is they have about 95% share of the world's market in cover glass for all your smartphones. Company in New York State and done very well. So it's this issue of really understanding the technology, understanding your target markets and customers, the switching costs, how to get in there and accelerate adoption, get its wide-scale use, and do it through a very, very compelling customer value proposition. That's how you build wealth. That's how you build success. That's how you make your IP really, really valuable. Thank you very much.